We are seekers of freedom and happiness. There is no doubt that every human being is a seeker of freedom and permanent happiness. But question arises, who is seeking this permanent peace and happiness? Why I say so? We live as a different person in our day to day life. So the Upanishad says it is Mukhyatma, the real self. It is Mithyatma, the false self. And it is Gonatma, the secondary self. We wake up in the morning after a sound sleep. And the waking state is peaceful, calm, fresh, happy, and joyful. Suddenly a thought pops up in the mind. Oh, I have to take care of myself. Pay attention. I have to take care of myself. My mind means body. It means I am the body. It means the mind claims I am my body. This is Mithyatma. This is the false self. Body is constantly changing. How can I be body? But identification is so strong that we live into that state. So, once I become the body, now my mode of working in life as Mithyatma, as a false self. It is required in the transactional world, in the material world. But that identification is the problem. So once I identify with the body, and then my son comes to me, I become father. My wife comes to me, I become husband. I go to the office, I become an employee. I go to a mall, I become a buyer. So that identification is the secondary self. Our masters, while explaining that we live at three levels, means at real self, at false self, that is Mithyatma, and Gonatma, at secondary self. Do I know my real self? I don't know. Do I know my Mithyatma? Yes, I know. I'm the body-mind complex. Now, problem in the mind is that I know what I am not, and I don't know what really I am. Begins the journey of yoga, Eastern wisdom. But this I must experience, I must contemplate and reflect. If I don't reflect, I listen to any teacher, oh, you are Mithyatma, okay. So the false self wants to solve the problem, keeping its identity, and it is not going to help. So, real self, I don't know. So when I don't know, I'm in ignorance. What is that ignorance? Ignorance of my true nature. Mithyatma, I know. I'm body mind complex. An extension of the body mind complex is the Gonatma, the secondary self. Then only I become father, mother, son, daughter, whatever it is. Now, what Patanjali is saying, the Patanjali says in the very first chapter, Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam, when you reach the highest practice of yoga, that is meditation, you discover your real nature, where through deep meditation, so the meditation reveals the knowledge of my true nature. Every master says, we think in terms of, okay, I did meditation, I have a deeper relaxation and calmness. No doubt, but they are byproducts. They are not the end result. In deep meditation, the knowledge of the real self is revealed. But again, when we return to our so called normal awareness after waking state, I identify myself with the body and the mind complex, along with the different labels uh, that we perform in our daily life, is influenced and dictated by the world outside, and it is constantly changing. So now we should analyze where lies the problem. I don't know my real nature. Who says? My mind says, I don't know my real nature. So the problem is of ignorance, which Patanjali says avidya. Avidya smita raga dvesh abhinivesha pancha kleshaha. Ignorance in the mind. So, where the solution should be placed? In the mind itself. So, that is why when we study Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we realize that he has an in depth understanding of the nature, of the functioning of the mind, and how to bring that wisdom in the mind through the principles, understanding the nature and the structure of the mind, followed by the practice. So, in the very first chapter, Patanjali clarifies that the problem is in the mind and the solution is in the mind. But why I cannot find this solution? Because the mind is obsessed with the ignorance. It does not want to drop the false self and the secondary self. So, in order to drop these two selves so that the real self is revealed from within, we have the entire journey of Patanjali Yoga Sutra.